on the discussion of the new and consideration of the city manager evaluation.
Yes, I requested that we put that back on there due to the kind of lack of discussion that was with it last time. We had the discrepancies of scores between the board and the employees. And the point of what we were trying to do was do an evaluation. And in that, it's part of the evaluation is providing constructive feedback at how we can, how Mike can improve that score. So I think that we need to, because we spent such money on having Mr. Peavy prepare it and things of that nature, because there was discrepancy in scores and multiple allegations that were made that were easily disproven, I think there should be some more discussion around that, what that needs to be done for Mr. Housewright to improve that score if we start doing another evaluation next year. There. There were 95 pages of bills paid in this. 95 pages of bills paid that Mike paid. Let's see, and that went to her personal email. So he couldn't pay a bill that he didn't get because it went to a personal email. Raises, those have been paid. Let's see. Anything sent to us is public record. Anything that any citizen sends to us can be FOIA. So there's that one. I just feel like we spent a lot of money on this, and for certain people, just to leave scores of 1 straight down the road, that's not actionable. That's not something that anybody can improve upon if you're not willing to provide feedback of what you want to see done different.
Any other discussion on this matter?
Yeah, if I can jump on this. Well, one thing that the Alderman was hitting on, and I'm just going to jump in. I've got some documentation that we need to cover. And I hate to do this, but there's been some pretty serious allegations leveled against me throughout this evaluation. Some of them were reported in the Rushville Review. Again, I'll say that my door is always open. If you hear concerning things about me, I'd ask that you come talk to me about it. If the allegations are going to go out publicly, they're going to have to be responded to publicly. So we'll jump into that. One right here, employees received raises in July of 2020. The increase in hourly raises was not added to their pay. Mike Housewright was responsible for this. Tammy Connor told him that she was going to give employees their raises before she retired. Her retirement was in December of 2020. The employees received a raise again in 2021. I do not know if they have yet received their pay. First thing that we will jump out on this is the board does not give raises. The board authorizes money for raises. Now, we've established that we're doing performance evaluations. The raises are distributed when performance evaluations are complete. This just is not factual. On October 6th of 20, raises were distributed. So I don't know what Tammy has said other than what is listed. But evaluations were given, raises were distributed on October 6th, and when they were distributed based on performance evaluations, then those raises were going through and they were backdated to July 1st. that's the process. Right now, I'm working with department heads. We're completing evaluations for this year, and when that comes through, and we expect that will come through in the next week or so, then raises will be distributed, and they'll be backdated. I have not received a single complaint on the raises or the performance evaluation process. Another one, Mike Housewright told employees that they were not to talk to me. I was trying to find out information about the sewer plant. It will have to have major repairs, but will be placing the town in millions of dollars of debt. I was at a local restaurant eating when two of the sewer employees sat down at a table beside me. I got up to sit with them and ask how things were going. There was a table of our policemen down below where we were sitting. One of the sewer employees said loudly, "Are they taking pictures of us?" One of the policemen was holding up his phone. This is how paranoid the employees are. This is not acceptable on any level. I don't know how to respond to that. I don't know anything about, what happened at that lunch table.
It's exactly as I said, Mike.
Well, I'm not disputing that. I have addressed the issue where the allegation has continually been leveled against me that I told employees not to talk to you. I have never told any employees not to talk to board members. I do not tell employees not to talk to board members because I don't have the authority to do that. Every employee in this city has a legal right to talk to members of the governing body. I do not instruct people not to do things that are illegal or to do things that are illegal. Again, I will repeat one more time. What I told this one particular sewer employee was that some of the questions that you were asking was best addressed by me. Likewise with millions of dollars of debt, yes, it turns out that you cannot neglect a sewer plant for 35 years and not expect millions of dollars of repairs. Now, I have put in place a long-range plan. I know that there's a lot of criticism that say that we should be doing things, should have done things before now. What I've done is work tirelessly to get a long-range plan in place before we start patching up our sewer plant. Because we need to know what we're doing. And quite frankly, there's no indication over the past 30 years in operating the sewer plant that anybody has known what they were doing. If they did, we wouldn't find ourselves in the position we are.
And you can't blame just one person.
And
A lot of people.
as it stands right now, we just completed a long-range plan with a lot of capital projects. We are just about shovel-ready on these projects as millions of dollars are coming available in federal funds for sewer upgrades. Had we started 2 years ago without a long-range plan, then we would be $1 million in debt right now. But as it stands, we've got money available and we've got a plan for how to fix it. I'm not going to take credit for the millions of dollars that's becoming available in ARPA money. But I do think that the credit is due in the sense that I have positioned us to be shovel-ready on major capital projects in that sewer department as these funds are becoming available. Part of success is preparing and being in the place that you need to be when the opportunity comes around. I'm sorry, I stand behind or stand by the decisions that I've made in regards to sewer. Now, this is the one that Alderman Gibson was referring to. When former CMFO, Tammy Connor, was out on medical leave, she received a call from a town employee. This person was at Walmart trying to have a prescription filled. The employee was told he had no insurance. He knew that Tammy always took care of the insurance payments. You can imagine her alarm with her in the hospital with thousands of dollars due for her care. Mike Housewright had not bothered to pay the insurance for 2 months. Tammy stated that he had not paid any bills in her absence, and it took several weeks to straighten out the mess that she had waited for her because Mike Housewright of not doing his job of filling in for her while she was out sick. There's a whole lot of issues that I take with that statement. One of which was Tammy was not in the hospital when our insurance was suspended. Tammy was in fact back to work when our insurance was suspended, and she had been back to work for about 20 days. Now, the reason that the insurance was not paid was because I did not receive an invoice for that insurance. Because Tammy, our finance officer, had that invoice going to her personal email account, which I did not have access to. I did in fact pay February's statement because she had forwarded that to me. And I've got,
Funny how that's left out.
I've got emails right here regarding all of that. You can see on the front page, the February statement, and you can see the email that it came from. Is a Yahoo account, and it is a personal Yahoo account. It is not one of the city's email accounts. I did not have access to that. Now, she forwarded that to me in February, and I paid that. That was on February 24th. She actually returned to work on March 24th, or March 20th. I did not get that statement, and it was not paid. And on April 16th was when our insurance was suspended. So she was not in the hospital. Furthermore, I will say adamantly that it was not my job to fill in for her while she was sick. There are very few city managers that could step into a certified finance officer role and do what I did. Did she have things to do when she returned? Absolutely, because I did not perform that job the way she performed it. I'm not her. Likewise, if I'm out for a month, a week, whatever, and Emily steps into my position, then she will not perform it the way I perform my job. There should be no expectation that I perform the job the way she performed it. She worked here for 20-some years. I stepped in and I kept things going. And as a matter of fact, I was very clear in the process of doing it that something would eventually get missed. And it did. But the simple fact is, it got missed not through any fault of my own, but because it went to her personal email address. Now, we've all been big to praise Tammy on a flawless or an audit without any findings. I will tell you that had the auditor known that we had invoices going to her personal email address, particularly one as important as the city's insurance for our employees, that would have been a material finding.
That's how it's left out of the
So,
statement.
you know, I don't,
I want to ask you a question. The audit that you talked about, that's a year behind, right? The one
that, right,
Your audit is a year behind, right?
right, but it covers this period. This occurred in February of 20. The audit that we just applauded, or you just applauded her for in the meeting, was for audit year, fiscal year, ending in June 30th, 20. Furthermore, to read this would suggest that I hadn't bothered to pay bills. I've got 90 pages worth of checks here that I paid during the time that she was out.
That could have easily been found out with a simple phone call.
Yes, I do not want to be having these discussions publicly because these discussions are an embarrassment to the city. And they are an attack on me. Now, the truth of the matter is, you could have came to me with any of this, and we wouldn't be having this discussion. But when you let these attacks against me publicly, the response to them is going to come publicly.
This
Because
has
you're-
been anonymous.
Not the board
There's
members.
nothing from the board is anonymous. I brought that up to Mr. Peavy, that if we create it, and if you chose to write your name on it, then it would be public record, and it would be subject to FOIA. And I sent him an email that said, how do I submit a FOIA request so that I can get a copy of all of them? So there's no anonymous, I can't say that word, but there's nothing anonymous about it.
And I don't understand why. I don't understand why these attacks, whether there was an expectation of anonymity or not, why they would be leveled against me. They're completely unsubstantiated. As a matter of fact, I have documentation, I have open record documentation that shows that all of these allegations are false. I mean, this was nothing more than an attack on my professional capacity.
These were things that I was told, and I have no reason to believe that Tammy had not told me the truth. None.
Then you base your evaluation on that
Why wouldn't you
opinion
come to
without
me
talking to
and
him.
see what I have to say about it? I mean, I could have dispelled all of that with proof, actual proof. Undeniable proof that these were not factual.
I didn't even say it on that evaluation,
The
that this was
insurance
proof that
did
was
lay
left
out
out.
that is the truth.
Not
The
together,
insurance
not
did
this
lay
all,
out.
though. Like
Guys,
it's bad.
facts.
Yes, yeah, the insurance did in fact lapse. But while we're on that subject, or if we're going to go back to that, she had already returned to work when it lapsed. She'd been back to work for 20 days when it lapsed. She had sent out the check, she had printed the check, she had seen that the check was late, that the payment was late, she printed out the check, and she mailed it the day before that it was actually suspended. Now, a simple phone call to Blue Cross Blue Shield would have prevented that from happening. I had no idea that I missed the payment. You know, I can't go into her email. I can't pull her invoice. I mean, again, I would ask.
If she's off on sick leave or somewhere, ain't that your job?
Not if it's on your personal email, you didn't.
Don't you
Well,
understand?
don't bug in, I've messed with
I can
you.
put it in if I want to. It's going to her
I know
personal
you're
email.
them big buddies, I know that.
Okay.
Anyway.
Well, don't, and we know that you have a
It's not a
home.
big buddy.
It's not, it's the group. Jeez Louise.
There is no expectation that I should be able to do the job of a finance officer. Many city managers can't. It just so happens that I can.
So you think, in other words, you can't do her job if she's not here?
Not if it's going to personal
I
email.
can't
you
open
can't
her
What's
ask.
your name, Mike?
It doesn't matter, I sit on this board, so if I wanna pop in and say something, I'm gonna pop in and say something. You do it all the time, do you not?
No, I don't.
I don't have access to her email.
Okay.
But you were notified not. You were notified by
Notified
Blue
of what?
Cross. Were you not?
Notified of what?
By Blue Cross and Blue Shield that the
No.
insurance had lapsed?
No.
They just
They're
had
the
that
day
email,
after.
they got Tammy email.
Yes.
How was it called?
They
wouldn't even talk to him, that's fine.
I was told that he was notified.
But you were told also that you
did.
Yeah.
You were told a lot of things, and you didn't call them and ask them.
You gotta check out facts before you ever claim something on somebody. That's common sense.
I notified that it was suspended once it was suspended and the check was in the mail.
That's what I'm saying, you were notified. That's what I'm saying.
All right.
But you
We're
check
just
it
gonna send
out
the
if
brightest
somebody
people on
tells
board,
you
haven't we?
something. You don't just assume that everything's correct.
Yes, when the insurance was suspended, I was in fact notified. And as you will see, right here, as you will see in the second email, this is an email dated April 20th or April 17th of 2020. And this was my email to Dominic Gant, who is our Blue Cross Blue Shield representative in Chattanooga. It says, Dominic, I am requesting that our Blue Cross Blue Shield coverage be reinstatement as payment sufficient to the account current was mailed today. I am the city manager of the town of Mount Carmel. Our finance officer has been seriously ill since December 25th of 2019 and was on a ventilator for 11 days. She returned approximately 2 weeks ago. In her absence, I handled her job as best I could, but it would seem that I missed the Blue Cross Blue Shield invoices. I didn't get them. They didn't come to a city email, they went to her personal email. But that's irrelevant to me, my attempts to get this reinstated. Payments
You'd
were
like
mailed today.
reinstated anyway.
Payments were mailed today totaling $37,647.42. The check numbers are stated. Our finance officer has returned to work, and there should be no further late payments on the account. I have employees that need to fill extremely important prescriptions that cannot presently do so. If you have any questions or if there is anything more that I can provide, please do not hesitate to call me at 423-741-0452. Thank you.
And also at this time, we had a pandemic going on. It's a big strain right there. Everybody's having a hard time paying their bills. Because all their employees was in the hospital.
Well, we had money to pay for
I
it,
know,
we
that's
just
what I'm
needed to
saying,
know
but we're not the
that
only
it
one,
was
there's
here.
other people like us.
You have personnel issues.
Yes.
Right.
So, I mean, was that notified? Yeah, once it was suspended. But once it was suspended, there was nothing more I could do. Now, if it had been brought to my attention that it was late when it was realized, then it all would have been avoided with a simple phone call to Blue Cross Blue Shield that says, hey, we've realized that we're 2 weeks late. And by the way, Blue Cross Blue Shield suspends coverage after 2 weeks of non-payment. So it wasn't, this alleges that I didn't pay it for months. It was 2 weeks late. And it was actually 2 weeks late following, she returned on March 20th. It was suspended on April 15th or April 16th. So it was, she was back at work. She was cutting checks.
Were there any penalties from that? We
Yeah,
had
there was a $570 penalty for that, for reinstatement, which we had to do a draft over the phone to cover that. In addition to that, I worked closely with Mr. Trout, who is our insurance broker. And I will give him full credit on this. He was great. And our insurance was suspended for 5 or 6 days. The time that it took for the mail to, the checks go through the mail and be processed by Blue Cross Blue Shield. And he made sure that any bills that were submitted during that lapse in coverage, that suspension, was reimbursed. And Blue Cross Blue Shield did go back and reimburse. Nobody was running up thousands of dollars in medical bills as this states. It just, it's not factual. The only thing that is remotely factual about any of this is that yes, our Blue Cross Blue Shield was suspended. But if you'll go back and you'll look, I was very clear that we were approaching a point where we were going to have to consider getting some help. That I was carrying to the best of my ability, but something would fall. And that's a problem here, as far as I can see, and there's a long history of it in regards to employment in this organization. If you put people in charge of big things, big mistakes will happen. Now, what you got to figure out when those big mistakes happen, are they a result of negligence, or are they a result of just human error? Because, to read these allegations, I'm the most negligent person in the world, but I've got documentation after documentation after documentation that shows that these allegations just are not factual. Yes, I do not doubt that you were told this. I mean, it's very obvious. This statement was approved by Tammy Connor. This statement was approved by Tammy Connor. But the statement's not factual. And had you came to me instead of leveling these accusations in a public forum, because regardless of whether it was anonymous or not, these become public record, and these are allegations. I would say that it's more reprehensible to do it anonymously than to put your name on it. If I'm going to level an allegation against somebody, then I need to be accountable for that allegation. I mean, I may or may not be at Mount Carmel for the next 20, 30 years. And I know some of you have your way. I won't be. I won't be here next month. It's not a secret.
It's been going on for
But
40
this
years.
is my professional reputation that you're playing with. I think that for the work that I've done here, whether you like the outcome or not, I think that I have earned the right to defend myself. And my concern for the city and the reputation that it holds, my preference would be to have these discussions in private and not in front of the press.
Who are? They could have been having private whenever you first had allegations, you didn't have.
Because I think it's important for the people to see I think it's important for people to see it. We spent like close to $10,000 on this, and I just, I thought we didn't do it, but I mean, we just found the picture. Teresa, you didn't even check individual boxes. You weren't just straight down the lines of ones.
That's the way I feel about it.
And I'm glad you can say it in the public forum.
Did you read them out?
I'm glad you can say it in the public forum. That's the way you feel about it. That's all I want to get out. It's like, let Mike know what he can do to improve. Or is there no path forward for it?
No,
Because, I
we're
mean,
just gonna criticize what's known.
That's if you can criticize, he's a big boy, he can take criticism. But if you can't provide a path forward of how we move forward, then you're just criticizing. Like, give him a way that he can move forward and move that score forward, or this is just a waste of time and waste of paper.
And it's
And I
not,
mean,
we're
I'm
not
not
making
thinking
any
it is,
progress,
but-
we're not making any progress by not going to him and asking him directly. I went to him, I don't know how many times, and asked him things directly. It's why you can get the truth.
I think everybody will at least spend an hour a month with him.
So,
Oh, he's gonna kill you when you get out of here, buddy.
He's
You got a lot of
He's gonna kill you when he gets out of here.
This is the last thing that I'll distribute, and we'll move on.
You have to, or you'd be crying.
Well, what you have in front of you is a spreadsheet with all my evaluation scores. What you see in yellow are scores in which I was rated under what should be meeting expectations. Everything below a 3 on this spreadsheet is below what the board should expect from me. Now, I've done personnel and performance evaluations for a very long time, and I've done hundreds of them. I have never once been critical of an employee on an evaluation on their performance without giving them a pathway to meet my expectations. That is a key part of personnel management.
Well, we didn't understand the last page, and I was asking for feedback.
You don't rake someone over the coals, an employee, whether it's the city manager or a department head or the guy mowing the grass, without giving them a pathway to meet your expectations. And that is what I will humbly ask the board, because I imagine that, yes, we will be doing an evaluation in a year's time. And I think that it is,
I just wanna know how you got a 1 on carefully prepares the city budget when we got like millions of dollars sitting in the bank.
I mean, I would ask that for those responses where I fall short of the expectations, that you give me some instruction so that this time next year, assuming that I'm still here, that I'm not looking at another 2.8. average. Because my average score on my performance by the board falls short of your expectations. You know, I want to meet, I promise you, I want to meet your expectations. This is my professional recommendation. It's my name next to that 2.8. It's my name next to all these ones, all these twos.
Well,
So-
two of these were straight ones all the way down. Now, how can you leave somebody a straight one unless you got hate in your heart or something?
Just
So I was looking at, I was looking at this in color, Mike, it really makes it kind of pop out here, so I see that I scored you a 2 on 8.2. Assumes responsibility for requesting changes in necessary policies and procedures. So why I scored that a 2 was that I feel like as city manager, you know, as the most, you know, educated professional person in regards to this field, you know, I would like for you to provide your opinion more, not less. And that's why I rated that as a 2.
But
at
least you
constructive-
could give a
constructive
reason
feedback
why.
of how he can move forward or what he can do differently.
Not just
Once.
one, with no feedback.
I think when, Ron was up there, he wanted an honest opinion. When that they said, that's what I did.
An honest opinion is giving productive feedback, not leaves and suck asses. That's not productive
If the
feedback.
shoe fits, there's an objection.
Well, again, I will, I'll close with that. Like I said, would like the opportunity to see what it takes to meet your own expectations.
We have to-
Go straight to him if you have something that you don't like what he's doing. Or go to him if you have something that he's done good on. The man has been over backwards to try to keep this town going good.
Well, if you
And
don't
that
like, you can at
like-
least have something, a response to why you don't think that he's doing good, or a constructive, just,
I mean,
I mean, as much money as we had left over, just like Pat Harding said, he has had an excellent. We're not hurting for money,
If you go back
because
and
it's
look,
been taken care of.
if you go back and look at the budget, because I'm speaking on what Pat's talking about. If you go back and look at the budget, right before Mike came on the budget workshop, there was talks of cutting the post office, talks of cutting Parks and Rec. There was talks of cutting, gutting every single service that this
public
city
works during
offers.
the winter time.
Public works during the winter time. There was talks of cutting everything, and now we're sitting at, a healthy $4 million fund balance. Like,
How do you get a one on
if you
that?
have a grievance, like, express it, but that's just retaliatory type stuff. It's just, there's nothing productive in that. And if there's not gonna be anything productive in it, why spend the money on the evaluation, why do it? It's just, it's a waste of our time, Mike's time, everybody's time, and the town's money.
Don't that money come from taxes?
It sure does.
Right.
The taxes come down this time.
but
Your
I'm
value of
not-
your house went up, so you're not
The-
paying $6 something on taxes.
Controls tax.
No,
Here's the, and I don't wanna get, I'm not trying to hash through the score. I'm asking for, a pathway to avoid these scores in a year's time.
If you can give these scores, you have to be able to give some type of pathway to,
I would think so, but I do wanna point out one thing. There's an item on here, about, carefully prepared budget. There's an item about controlling spending. I presented last year a balanced budget. I don't think that there's much more that can be asked of that. And for that matter, the budget's here all baked. I just put the numbers in the slot. If you want a $500,000 surplus, then, we'll move numbers. If you want to spend money and do big things and take money out of fund balance, we'll do that. But in regards to, carefully controlling spending, where, I received 3 ones, we didn't amend the budget last year. I've gone back to 2010 and looked at the budget numbers. I have lived and breathed our budgets. I don't think going back as far as 10, 11 years, that there's ever been a balanced budget presented in which there was no budget amendment. I don't think in any time has a budget been presented, other than my budget, the one that you all approved, that no budget amendment was necessary. We presented a balanced budget last year. You all passed it. I held to it. We didn't have to amend anything. I mean, that's controlled spending as low as you could ask for. And that's, it just worked out that way. It was a good budget, good numbers, good projections. Is it bad to amend the budget? No. But it's pretty good when you write a budget and they pass it and you go through the year and there's no need to amend it. That is something to applaud.
They can go down.
So that's, I've gone deeper into this than I want to go. I don't want to argue the evaluation. If you have things that you're told that you worry about their truthfulness, or if you hear something that's alarming about me, come to me. I swear to you, I will not lie to you. I don't lie. If I mess up, and I will, then I'll tell you, and I'll tell you why. And I'll also tell you, the day that you all find yourself with a city manager that lies to you is the day that you fire them.
Right.
So, if you hear something and you want to know about me, make a phone call.
Any other discussion on this? We need to move on.